Hello, my name's Sam and I am what you'd call a super fan of Doctor Who. I've been watching it ever since I was like this big, so I would say I know what I'm talking about. And I've wanted to share this passion of my love for Doctor Who on the internet for ages, and I have no idea how to start it, so I thought I'd just start it now. Brand new era of Doctor Who, let's just do this, why not? Now on Easter Sunday, so a few days ago now, the trailer for Series 1 dropped, and there is so much information going on in there. And then just a day later, the episode titles dropped. So the titles for all the episodes of the series, and we'll go through them in just a minute. But I just want to say, if you're into Doctor Who as well and you're just like me, make sure you subscribe, because this is going to be the hub of Doctor Who content. So just subscribe, like the video, share it to your friends who love Doctor Who, and we're going to just crack on straight into this now. Okay, so we're just going to get straight on into the episode titles. So the first one is Space Babies, then there's The Devil's Chord, then Boom, then 73 Yards, then Dot and Bubble, then Rogue, then The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which I believe is Millie Gibson's final episode of Doctor Who, and then Empire of Death, which is the final episode. It's a two-parter. But something that did get announced as well is that the Christmas special for this year coming up for Doctor Who is Joy to the World, which gives me a theory that there's going to be a new character in Doctor Who called Joy, because that's a very Stephen Moffat title. Joy to the World. It's a Christmas song, and if we have a character called Joy, it will just work. It just will. That's just what Stephen Moffat does. He's very clever with things like that, so exciting stuff. Now I want to start this video with Space Babies. If you look in the trailer of Series 1, there is this clip where Ncuti Gatwa opens a door and you can see some babies and he goes, "Space Babies." Here it is.
It's huge!
Space Babies!
Okay, so after some digging, we have found out that the monster of this episode is called the Bogeyman. Now, if you grew up in the UK, you'll know the Bogeyman was a big thing in schools. Everyone would be like, oh my god, the Bogeyman's gonna come and get you in your sleep. He never showed up. He's not real. In this episode, Bogeyman is apparently the main villain. So that is something we could break down from this trailer, and from the episode title teaser, you can see a shadow on the wall where it's the Space Babies of what is going to be the Bogeyman. So I'm looking forward to this, and we're going to see how it goes. Okay, so The Devil's Chord is going to be the musical episode, the episode that is literally all about music. Now, we don't know how many musical numbers there are going to be in this episode, but we do know there is going to be one big musical number similar to the Goblin King from the Church on Ruby Sunday. There is going to be a big musical number, and it's going to be split. I reckon the fan base is going to be split down the middle. Now, a lot of people, including myself, didn't watch the Jodie Whittaker era, and I mean, I've watched it now because this is a few years in the future, and I've realised I sort of just need to watch it to get the story. I didn't really enjoy it. However, a lot of the fan base are now split, because after the Jodie era, when Jodie began as a Doctor, a lot of people split in either the direction of, right, I'm going to stop watching Doctor Who, or just keep watching the classics and the beginning of the reboots, or I'm going to just stick with it and just see what happens. And I feel like the people who stuck with it are going to appreciate musical numbers more than those who split off, because to me it sort of tells me, if you split off because there's a woman Doctor, you're not going to be into big musicals and all this, so you know what I mean. Another great thing about this episode that we know is that the Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, is going to be having some singing time in the episode. As you can see in the trailer, he is holding a microphone up to his mouth, presuming he's about to sing, which is just great news, because, you know, who doesn't want to hear Ncuti Gatwa sing? Personally, I do. Now, something else about this episode that we know is it is the Beatles episode, the famous Beatles picture that was taken a few months ago that we've seen on the internet. This is the Beatles episode starring Jinx Monsoon as the villain. Now, that's all I know, and that's all I can share with you, but that is just amazing news. There's a Beatles episode of Doctor Who coming to our screens within the next few weeks, which is mental. So there's a Beatles episode with Jinx Monsoon as the villain. What more could you want? So then we have Boom, which is written by Stephen Moffat, and I think it is Stephen Moffat's first episode back directing and writing Doctor Who. Now, this is like a dream come true for people who love Doctor Who, including myself. Now, what we know about this episode is it's something to do with a landmine, either blowing up or not blowing up, because that is what happens with landmines. When you step on one, apparently the Doctor steps on a landmine. That is all we know. That is all I know. And yeah, I should probably give a shout out to Confused Adipose, because he is actually my source for this. He is what I'm looking at, and I got this information from, and I'm sharing with you lot. This is more just because these videos go on for quite a bit. This is more a broken down, fast paced version of that. But yeah, shout out to the confused adipose. He is where all my sources come from. If you've got a short attention span, stick with me. But subscribe to him anyway. He deserves loads of subscribers. So yeah. Now 73 Yards is the next episode, written by Russell T Davies. And the only thing we know about this episode is the TARDIS is on a cliff top and it is sort of just rotting away. That's all we know. The TARDIS is probably dying and the Doctor has got to try and somehow stop it. But that is it. That's the small amount we know from this episode. And the only reason we know that is because it was in the trailer that you probably missed. Then we move on to Dot and Bubble. Once again, we literally know nothing about this besides the fact it could be a two-parter, because this and the next episode, Rogue, is written by the same two people, which only happens a few times in this list, but this is back to back twice, so it's theorized that this could be a two-parter because they're both written by Russell T Davies and Dylan Holmes Williams. So Dot and Bubble, Rogue could be a two-parter, but if it's not, we know something about Rogue. Rogue is set in Bridgerton times. If you remember in the in the trailer, Millie Gibson said this is like Bridgerton, and we know that there is a villain called the Duchess, who we don't know. The theorized the villain called the Duchess is the main villain of this episode and will be trying to do anything to take the Doctor down, because that's what villains do, but we know nothing special about it. We just know the villain and the time that it is set in. That is it. The Legend of Ruby Sunday and the Empire of Death are the two-parters of this series, the two-part finale, which we're theorizing to be Daleks. We haven't had Daleks in a while, but this could be a perfect send-off. And in this, we are probably going to find out Ruby's origin story, considering it's her final episodes on Doctor Who. If you want to know my theory, I might do a whole video based on it. My theory is that the person on Ruby Road who dropped Ruby off at the doorstep is going to somehow be herself. Now, I don't know how, my theory doesn't go that far, but imagine how cool that would be if Ruby drops herself off and is somehow her own biological mother. I don't know how it's going to work, I don't know how it connects to the Daleks, but I would love to find it out, and I'd love to be right, because I was right about bi-generation. This is what I mean, this is why I'm starting this channel, because I was right about bi-generation. I predicted it from afar, and there's no proof of that, so I could be lying, but I'm not, I promise. Again, like I say, this is theorised to be a Dalek two-parter, set in the Roswell era of America, and this is where the Doctor returns to Torchwood, and there are theories of Rose coming back, not Rose Tyler, Rose Noble? Is it Rose Noble? I don't know who. I don't know how that works, but it's Donna's daughter Rose is theorized to be coming back for this two-parter, which I'm all for. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's anywhere to be seen on the internet besides Adipose and me, but I'd love to see her come back, because I think she was a great addition. She diversifies the show. The whole not binary, non-binary thing I think was a bit of a stretch. But besides that, I mean, she didn't write it, did she? So I think she's a great person to have on the show to keep it going, get longevity, and I'll definitely be tuning in regardless. Me and my mum are buzzing for this series to start, and I am so gassed, and I've finally caught up with everything from 13 as well that I missed. So I'm excited now. I'm getting all giddy. But that is pretty much all we know from every episode that has been announced of Doctor Who Series 1 on Disney Plus and BBC, with Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, which is mental. If you want to hear my thoughts on Mrs. Flood or Ruby's origin or any more news that gets leaked, then subscribe to this channel. This is the place to be. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you very soon for some more Doctor Who news, trailer reactions, tier lists, anything. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.